And what does this tell you about India's preparedness and India's expertise when it comes to space exploration?
Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to viewers. Look, we have been repeatedly saying, and repeatedly every media is covering, that this effort of going to space is after 4 decades, after Rakesh Sharma in 1984. Now we are sending an astronaut to space. That means it means a lot. Look, ISRO in particular, this country in large, they don't do just like that anything, right? Therefore, now, for the last 10 years, if you had seen, there is preparation for Gaganyaan and also the BSS, that is called as the Bharat Space Station, to be established in 2035 and 2040, and Gaganyaan to happen immediately 2026 and 2027. If you had seen in the last 6-7 years, you had also seen the docking experiments happening and the space recovery experiments happening, that we had sent one module to space and we have brought it, plunged into the space, recovered. So all these experiments are happening, and the maturity had been happening in terms of the Gaganyaan program, which has to happen. Now it is the time that we learn more. It's something which we should realize and understand, that the very purpose of this, sending an astronaut to International Space Station, there is definitely, there are lots of things which are being looked forward to. The first and the foremost is that we had not sent any space astronaut to space so far, other than Rakesh Sharma by Russian Soyuz. Now this is the first astronaut who is going, and his experience, the first-hand experience. Of course, there are many astronauts who have gone, but we should have our own first-hand experience of our astronaut who has been selected for Gaganyaan to travel in this capsule of Dragon and go to ISS. Is the first experience is required. One. Second thing is that we must note that he is the pilot of the Dragon capsule. That means he is in a very responsible position, even though everything is automatic and automatic systems take care. But he has a role to play in terms of docking the capsule to ISS. Even though there are several things automated, etc., etc., there are certain roles which need to be played by the pilot and the commander who is there for docking of the experiment. Therefore, docking of the Dragon capsule to ISS is the second learning that has to be that is very important, required. And the third is that once he reaches there, he has to be there for next 14 days, and he has to really experience what a zero-G condition is, what is the condition of the no gravity or microgravity condition, and how does it really feel, and what will be the learning from there for our Gaganyaan mission, which is for 5 days to space and back. So that is something which he has to, the experience what he gains will be useful for us. And once he goes there, then there are set of experiments which are planned. So the experiments are certain things which are for example, impact of microgravity radiation in ISS on edible microalgae. So this is very important from the point of view that we are taking the food and food items into the International Space Station, and when it gets exposed to space radiation, the nutrients can come down, the protein can vary, the carbohydrates can vary. So the effect of the energy that the kilocalorie, what we call it as, could differ from what you have it at Earth and what you take it. So that experiment he is expected to perform. And sprouting salad seeds in space. Of course, one has to have food as a human being. One has to have food, even though the packed foods are there, dehydrated foods are carried and they are hydrated there and taken. But preparing some food there itself, and if for long-term stay, is something which is required, which is expected to do, and we are going to get swimming pool. Survival, revival, reproduction, and transcription of the para microbiota, that is the microbites, whatever is going to be taken there, how it can survive there, how it can multiply, how it can reproduce, how it can function, is something what he is expected to do. He is carrying all this with him. The effect of metabolic supplements on muscle regeneration under microgravity. Muscle regeneration, muscle degradation is one of the biggest issues in microgravity, which we have been talking even when Smita Williams was there for more than 9 months, who had gone for only 6 days. So the supplements what can be given, the minerals what can be given so that the muscle degradation doesn't happen. Like in Earth also, the patient, when the people fall sick, so the doctors advise many vitamins, vitamin minerals, etc., in terms for many diseases. So this is a natural process what is happening in space. So that those experiments like this, and also another very important experiment is that interaction or usage of the electronic gadgets in terms of the keyboards, in terms of the laptops, in terms of the pods, etc. In the microgravity condition, where the eye, eye is also affected because of the retina functioning will be, less. And in such condition, how to operate the control panels, how to do those experiments, he's expected to carry out. And like this, the experiments are there. And beyond that, once he is there, interaction with other crew members and how to manage in terms of when we have different culture people, different language people, different technical experts, how to interact, how to gain gain the confidence of others in doing various experiments, and all that is something which is expected to give inputs which are very useful for the Gaganyaan mission as well as the BSS, the Bharat Space Station, which is scheduled to be launched. Once he stays there for 14 days and does all these experiments, and returning is also one of the learning which ISRO in particular and country in large is looking at, from the point of view that when the vehicle re-enters the Earth, the type of the shocks and the shocks and the vibrations that the astronauts face is phenomenal, and the re-entry, the heat that is generated is also going to create enough amount of disturbances inside the astronaut chamber as well. There, and when it splashes down, the splashing shocks and the recoveries, etc., something which which one has to personally experience. That's the reason the astronaut who has been selected for Gaganyaan has been sent there so that his experience can be shared with other 3 astronauts whom we have selected, and those things will be useful. And beyond all that, and the last but not the least, is that once the astronaut come back, there is what is called as rehabilitation program for them, and he will necessarily have to go through the rehabilitation program. Those experiences also will be useful for Gaganyaan, which is impending in 2026 and 27, and the BSS, which is 2035 and 2040. Therefore, as I said, the country has taken the right decision. The ISRO has taken the right decision in taking this step forward when we are matured enough to say that we send our astronaut and we need all these experiences. And this is part of the planning which has happened in ISRO for Gaganyaan, where one has to have all the first-hand information other than those experiences of the other astronauts. Over to you.
Sir, appreciate you taking out the time and speaking with us. All right, moving on. Sonam Raghuvanshi, prime accused in